to be today going through, and this take for me, the first 2 arcs. But this whole entire video should cover the entirety of all 68 chapters of 200 Wishes. I mean, let's start with a little introduction. I'm Xander, also known as Tetra, the author, and I enjoy video essays. And I thought what would be a fun project would be to learn how to do a video essay. But I wanted to do one with a board, as you can see, in here, and some pens I bought, which this one was bad, Dollar Tree, I get it. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fun. We've got like note cards, I've been spending probably 2 days writing a presentation. It is a PowerPoint to this side, and I'm going to be using a mouse to click through, just clicking a button like a pointer, to click my presentation points, to try to give me the talking points so I can walk you through the entire story of 200 Wishes. Now, I guess we should get into 200 Wishes. I'm a little giddy. This video will probably be, I'm hoping, around 3 hours minimum. It's gonna be a lot of fun editing. Let me tell you. I'm a little excited. My makeup doesn't look that good. I want to do something easy because I'll be talking for a bunch of hours, and just kind of looks like a child drawing his face. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, let's start at the beginning. 200 Wishes. Here it is, written by Tetra Kiss, me. Now the publication started. I'm gonna hit my clicker. Sorry. Let me get it in hand. Let me get it in. I'm ready. Okay. Okay. So it started publication in May 2020. And it would be actually one of it was published on a site called Rainobu. Rainobu started in about April 2020. So being published about late May, early June of 2020 would make it within about the first month to 2 month series. So it was, you could maybe count it among one of the first series to be published. Now, the series would run for an entirety of a year. Just under a year, I would call it a year. And in that time, it would write, let's see over here, 98 chapters. A decent run for a web novel. It's a beefy story. We're gonna be just hitting these 2 points right here, just the Wish King arc and the Journey for Clara arc. On my side of making this presentation, I used really like broad points for the beginning, and later I will go into way more detail of like the later chapters. Way better explanations. But, okay, for 200 Wishes, on the, this would be with the first Rainobu site. So this site would be before the finished site. This would be like the beta. And during the beta's time, 200 Wishes peaked at the #1 spot on popular, and averaged around the 2nd to 3rd spot. It would shift up. In its early production, it landed about 5, would hang out there for a while, and then would reach 3, and then 2, and it only at the end of its publication, right before the final chapter, reached #1 for a brief time before that site actually went down. Like the site just went down, the beta was over. So just wiggled in there, but days before the beta went down, it did return to #2. But that could be a little bit of up to interpretation why people were just remembering all their favorite series. Now, like I said, we're going to go through, let's just go over all the arcs. There are here 7 arcs that make up 200 Wishes. We start with the Wish King arc. Then we've got Journey for Clara arc, Fall of Heptaria arc, the 3-year arc, Shrine Maiden arc, Holy Castle Attack arc, and the Composer of Man arc. And I thought it'd be useful to start off with just some basic worldview. But we're going to start is here's a map. I've drawn a map. The production on this video is extremely amazing. I spent like $8 in props to buy all this and all this other stuff. So we have the 4 countries. And in this video, we'll be going a little out of order about world history, because from the series protagonist, he's from the country of Heptaria. Heptaria's people are basically the ruling country of, they are in charge of something called wish cards. We'll get to those. But their people are pretty and uneducated on world history. And because of that, our protagonist, Kaido, doesn't know a lot about the world history. And so I thought it'd be useful to at least introduce the other countries, because countries like Runus, and Genome Opus, a lot of these have never been pronounced out loud. Geno Opus, these two don't even show up till 3-year arc. Renois will be part of Shrine Monarch, but I just want to introduce them. Another little piece of world history is the story will start about a generation later after a war between Akatsushimiya and Heptaria. These two would fight on their borders over wish cards, and also this war was called the Jewel War. So besides being over, the two have always warred over wish cards, the power that Heptarians have by right. This would be the Jewel War, as it was being fought over production and harvest rights of harvesting a rare type of gem that boosts natural abilities of all magic forms that all 4 countries use. Now these gems are mostly found along this border, mostly in this area right here. So each country does feel like they have a claim, despite it being Renois's property. Renois will be later found to be, it is kind of a hermit country. This land doesn't like talking to the others, doesn't really like adapting their culture. It is pretty big on minding their own business. Genopus, also pretty big, but for their own rights, they're pretty self-sufficient and they don't need other countries. Renois does sometimes need to rely on other countries. Renois is also, world history-wise, knows a lot more about the world and the worlds outside of these 4 lands, far more. On this map I didn't draw it super well, but along this ridge is land. There is other land above, but it is connected by the corner of Renois up to Genopus. And these 2 countries essentially know nothing about that world. Renois does not care about that world. They've discarded any known of it. Genopus very well informed about what's going on outside. They're essentially the only one of the 4 main lands that know about something called the outside world. Now, I suppose let's move on into Heptaria and what are wish cards. Wish cards. They are little trading card looking cards that each have, there are 200 of them, 200 wishes, and each one is a wish that a man called the Wisher. Now, I'll be telling you a piece of Heptarian folklore. The folklore, rumor, mythology, is that there was once a man who they refer to as the Wisher, and the Wisher was a good guy, like a really good guy. And because of all the good things he did, when he died, God came to him and said, hey, I want to grant one wish for you. And his one wish in life was that he could share 200 of his biggest wishes with the world. So he created 200 wishes, and God was like, oh, you cheeky guy, even in death, you're trying to help people out. I will let you share 200 wishes with the world. And so these 200 wishes were shared with the people of Heptaria, which was his home country, according to mythology. Later in the series, we'll get into more debate about what country he's really from. But the Heptarians believe he's one of them, and that the Wisher gave them these wishes by divine right, that he wanted his descendants, his people, to have these powers. And that is why Heptaria is the only country that can use wish cards. Get into later more about how literally no cards work for any of the other countries. But in their beliefs, it is because of their pure blood that they can use these wishes. And so we get into how do these wishes come to be. They are delivered by the 199th wish, Piacio. Piacio is a giant slot machine with a clown face on it that spins and comes to children of Heptaria when they are 15 to give them a singular wish card. Now there are some rules for these wish cards. These wish cards, rules are no one under 15 can receive a wish card. No one may receive more than one from Piacio, which doesn't mean you can't get another one. It is just by birth you are owed one wish card. And they're completely random. Anyone who tries to steal a wish card from Piacio will be killed. Underline again, from Piacio. You can steal wish cards, you can buy, you can sell them, you can steal them, you can do whatever you want with them. But you can't go to the maker to take them. No wish cards can affect Piacio. You think you could use a card that maybe forces someone to fall in love. It doesn't work in Piacio. You can't use weapons, you can't use effects, nothing. And Piacio, the final rule, Piacio can appear to anyone in the world who is in need of a wish, who he deems worthy. And that'll come into some loopholes. Now, wish cards come in three main forms. There's creation type, there is ability type, and there's transformation type. So creation are, you can create a loaf of bread. While transformation would be like, you can change your face into the face of someone else you know. Then abilities would be like, you are resistant to poisons, you are bulletproof, you have a magnificent amount of luck, and that will come in later. Now, there are 200 wishes. But like I said, Piacio's wish number 199, I'm sorry, 200. He's the 200th wish. I've said 199. I will correct myself later. But if you gather the 199, mythology says you'll be granted the right to talk to God and make another wish. Now this is mythology. No one has ever done it. No one's ever collected 199. As we'll go on, we'll see how collecting 199 is not impossible, like, oh, it's so hard, but more like it physically is impossible to gain about 14 of the wish cards. About 14 wish cards, just impossible. Besides Piacio, you throw them in, that's 15. But we're only counting 199, and of 199, 14 are physically impossible to have gotten for one person. One person could never gain all 200. But the people of Viteria, not well informed, they truly believe that it is possible to gain 199 cards and grant a new wish. Now, if they make the 201st wish, the 201st wish will turn into one of the other wishes. So it replaces a random wish. So wish that at one point, wish 147 would have let you shoot lightning from your fingers. But you wish that the world was flat, that you could make the world flat. And because of that, no one can shoot lightning out of their fingers. Wish 147 now instead makes the world flat. Anyone who had that card would now be able to make the world flat. But there are rarities to wish cards, and wish cards are replaced by their level of rarity. So something like flattening the earth, probably an RR. Triple R, probably a super rare card. There's probably only a couple hundred in the world. Probably. Okay, so now we understand that, we can move on to introducing our protagonist. Now we have our protagonist, Kaido. And I'm going to be using this board back here, and we're going to be click. Okay. Kaido. Did not stick. I did not test this. 1 second. Okay. Trial and error, baby. Kaido. He's our protagonist. Kaido, he has orange hair. He is 15 years old. He's just turned 15. It is his birthday, and he is planning to run away from home. Crack of dawn, it's about 4 a.m. He gets out, sneaks out a window, and sneaks out of home. He has to sneak out of home because his parents are against wish cards. Although it is by his birthright that he should be allowed to have a wish card, his parents have always said no. And this is because he has an older sister who 3 years ago woke up, they celebrated that she's 15, it was time for her to get a wish card. She walked out the door to get that wish card and she never came back. Never came back, and therefore they're scared of wish cards. They're from a generation who remember, as I talked about, the Jewel War between these two countries. And because of that, their generation knows wish cards can do a lot of good things, but they can also cause a lot of pain, and it's just not worth the hassle. They'd rather their son just be a normal person and not get involved with wish cards. If he really needs one, they could buy him a safe one. But there's a lot of danger that comes with getting a random one. Now, rumors around his hometown are that what his sister received was something called a demon brand. It is the cards between 160 and 169. And these 9 wish cards are known as evil wish cards. They're wish cards that cause only evil, and they are the rarest type of card there is, next to a card we'll talk to later called the Four Divine. Besides the Four Divine, the Demon Brand are the rarest cards you can get. And so people of the town have rumored that they think that what happened was that Akane, his sister, I forgot to mention his name, Akane, went to Piacio, got a Demon Brand, and was immediately kidnapped by maybe Akazusha Miya, maybe someone who just wanted to sell her wish card. No one knows. A lot of rumors about his sister. But, you know what? Kaido isn't going to let that hold him back, because you know what? He's going to find her. And that's part of his journey. He also would like to be something called the Wish King. The Wish King is the formal title given to someone who collects all 199. As we've talked about, no one's ever done it. He's well aware that no one's ever done it, but he thinks, you know what? I'm going to be the one to do it. And so he heads out and he goes to see Piacio. Now, Piacio comes down to him. The way to summon Piacio actually is each town has something called a silver bell. It is a bell that depicts the legend of the Wisher. The people of Hepataria made these bells as a way to summon Piacio when they need him. Piacio will come to anyone who needs a wish, but he's into the formality of waiting until someone rings this bell. So Kaido rings this bell, and Piacio comes down. And Piacio's like, son, are you ready to be a Wish King? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm so ready. But Piacio's like, one question first. Where are your friends? And Kaido's like, I don't need friends. I'm going to do this alone. And Piacio's like, that's real sad, kid. You know what? Because Piacio, besides being a wish card, also is, you know, a little human to him. So he says, Kaido, that is really sad that you want to do this alone. I know exactly what card you need. And he gives him a wish card called Wish Card 1, a friend in need. And this wish card grants the user the perfect friend. The friend of your dreams is what the card is called. It is a triple R card, and it says it's a creation card. And as we'll slowly go on, we'll start to see that maybe the cards are also lying to Epitarians, and the Epitarians are only seeing on these cards sort of words they want to see. So Kaido believes he's been given a creation card worth a decent chunk of money. Now in this world we'll be using gold. Gold is the money they use. This wish card 1, is worth 323,000 gold coins. So it's a pretty rare card. There aren't a lot of them. All it says is just picture the perfect friend, and they'll appear. And so Kaido activates his wish card, Glimmer of Light, and what happens? A little blue girl appears with blue hair and a yellow sundress. And he looks at her and he's like, dang, I did not imagine that, but okay. I mean, she's cute. He immediately finds her very attractive. He thinks she's a very cute girl. She looks about his age. He's interested in her. And so she's unconscious, and he shakes her to wake, and she admits she has no memories of who she is. And he's like, I created you. No wonder you don't have any memories. And he asks her for her name. And so she says, I don't have a name. And he goes, that's not going to be okay. And so he asks her, what would you like to call? And she says, for some reason, she doesn't know why, she likes the name Clara. And so Clara joins the team. So now we have Kaido and Clara. Clara has no memories and is his wish card. Oh, I forgot to mention, we'll be using color coordination. Green cards are Kaido's allies. And I'm using double-sided tape because they'll move around as characters move from ally to non-ally. Then black will be neither an ally nor an antagonist. They're a central force. They are outside of Kaido's understanding of good and bad. This is all from Kaido's perspective. So green characters are characters they're him, they're his friends, while black characters aren't officially part of him. They aren't fully loyal to him. They might be working with him. And black characters are those ones who will be working with him, they're outside, they're not him. Now red will be Demon Brands and anyone he sees now as an antagonist. They're against Kaido's beliefs, and so they are bad. And so the two of them venture out of town. He's left town, his parents didn't find out, they're not getting their son back. Now, leaving out to the next town, Clara is lured in by a cat. It's a cat with a wish card. Clara is educated about wish cards while on this walk and sees this cat with a wish card and decides to chase after it. Now, chasing this cat into an alleyway, she loses Kaido chasing this cat. And the cat transforms into a woman who identifies herself as a witch. She calls herself a witch, has a witch hat, and she is here to rob Clara. And she just beats the absolute heck out of Clara. Clara is a weak little girl. Despite being wish card, no abilities, just a regular little girl from a wish card. Gets beat up to heck. Gets her pockets searched. All that this witch finds is wish card 1. And she's like, I don't want that. That's not what I rob people for. But right before Clara is about to lose the card, the witch is going to take it anyway. Clara knows this card means something to Kaido. It's his first wish card. She doesn't want to lose it. Kaido comes in, swoops in to save her. He is attacking her with blades made of bones. And bones, as in his own bones, are coming out of his hands, just gently out of his palms. And he is slashing around with bones made of his own bones have come out of his skin. And he's using a wish card, used wish card 129, called Bone Breaker, which allows the user to control the bones inside their body, extending them and shrinking them. It does not, however, remove the pain. Kaido is fully feeling the pain of having a bone stabbed through his palm, blood is all over his hands, and any bone he'd move would hurt. So it could kill him. And so Kaido was able to beat this witch in a hand-to-hand combat easily. This witch is totally unable to prepare. Her only cards were a face-changing mask and the cat one. Super unprepared robber. She was relying entirely on normal weapons. Kaido wins. Kaido passes out from the pain of having two bones go through his left is like he's basically passed out. He's barely holding on to consciousness, actually. My apologies. He's barely holding on to consciousness, and he leads her back to a home from the person who gifted him Bone Breaker. He says they have to replace, they have to give the card back. You can't just hold on to this. And so they return to a door, and at that door he passes out. And this is where we meet Toshi. Toshi is a blonde boy. He looks about their age. Toshi is... he seems like a nice guy. Clara immediately notes that he has a little deck box filled to the brim with cards. She estimates about 50, 60 cards. So, knowing that you only get one at birth, this guy's either stolen a lot, he's either bought a lot, gambled a lot. He explains that he did it through wagers on battles, but with Kaido now having been nursed back to home, Clara spends a little time with Toshi. Toshi fills her in on the 3 types of wish cards, and also informs her about something called a tournament, which is how he wins his wish cards, which is where a tournament hall will offer a singular super rare card. In exchange, you pay a little entrance fee, and you battle. A contest of strength to defeat each other until you incapacitate the other. Winner gets the prize, and a little bit of the prize money. And during this, Clara shares a little bit about how she has no memories of herself, shares a little about herself, Toshi's interested, and Toshi says, hey, I might have a card that can help you, and pulls out a card called Wish Card 134, Father's Pep Talk. It's a wish card that summons someone's father to give them a piece of advice from wherever they are. Super random one. He says, she notes that it's super weird. Why is there a wish card that does that? That's a strange wish. Toshi says, hey, the wisher probably just didn't know his father. His father probably abandoned him, and he's still such a good guy. What a cool guy. Probably he just wanted to meet his father, and that's why there must be a card called Father's Wish Top. A lot of trying to explain it, trying to see why the wish cards are wish cards. Bonebreaker, another example of a strange card. Kind of weird that a man who wanted to help people would wish for that. We'll get into that later about trying to figure out why the wisher made these wishes. And so, they activate, he hands Father's Pep Talk to Clara. Clara is unable to activate the card. She can't get it to turn on. He chalks it up to her since she's from a wish card, wish cards can't activate wish cards. So he, being a nice guy, activates the wish card for her. There's a knock at the door. Clara runs to the door to meet her father, hoping to learn something about her past, and there's a pile of dust on the doorstep. And she looks at it with a real sad expression as the dust shapes into the words to form the sentence, never let anyone tell you who you are. After that, wind blows the dust away, the dust is gone. Her father must be dead. Her father's dead. His one advice he could give her was, never let anyone else tell you who you are. That'll come up later. Now, at this point, Toshi retires into another room. He's going to cook them a meal. Clara runs over to check on how Kaido does. Kaido's waking up, or he is awake. He opens his eyes, and he's like, hey Clara, we got to get the heck out of here. She's like, why? Aren't you even going to say goodbye to Toshi? He's like, no. Because see, the thing is, Toshi was doing some weird stuff while I was asleep. Toshi was here, kneeled over next to me on this couch, as he thinks I'm asleep, whispering, oh, my broken little baby. Oh, my little boy, my broken little boy, how I want to play with you. And it's like, huh, that's kind of weird. But Toshi walks in, he overhears that. He's like, hey, look, I really like battle. I really like wish cards. I thought it was really interesting to see you use that wish card. I've never used it before. I'm sorry if it weirded you out. In exchange to make it up to you, could I give you both 2 wish cards, and maybe that'll make it up to you. And the 2 of them are like, yes, please. And so he hands over 2 random wish cards. Clara can't use it. It's a one to change your face, and Kaido receives. That card will come up later. It isn't revealed yet what Kaido revealed. Now, in exchange for this, Toshi also says, hey, the beginning matches for the next wish tournament for a rare card are going to be 3-on-3s. So, me, you, Clara, we go. Yeah? That's another way I'll make up to you. Kaido's like, yes, I want to collect all the wish cards, so therefore, I would like to come along. And so, they head off to a tournament center, and they learn that the prize is going to be a card called Wish Card 120, Gnome Princess Blood. It's one that by using your blood, summons gnomes. Another weird wish, but it's super rare, and a lot of people want it. And so when they arrive, a woman asks to see their identification. And Kaido's like, shoot, I don't have an ID, I'm 15. And Toshi's like, oh, you silly. And the woman's like, oh, you silly. And she pulls up his sleeve and shows that there's a little mark on his shoulder. And the shoulder says 1, has a circle and the number 1. And this is called the mark of Piaggio. It marks you to prove that you are a real wisher. You are someone who was granted a wish by Piaggio. Piaggio marked you. It's to prove you're not an outsider who might be from one of these countries. You're not from those countries. You're good. And Clara's like, shoot, I'm a wish card. And so she looks over her body, and she finds one on her leg. And it is also a 1, but her 1 has chains around it. And she goes, oh, that's weird, but I guess chains is this, like, I'm tied to the wish card. That must be it. Everyone shrugs it off. And so they enter inside, and they gather in a crowd, and they watch a screen as they announce who's going to be fighting first. And there's going to be a match against a team called Team Lucas, which will be Kaido, Clara, Toshi versus Lucas, Anna, Ella. This will be Team Lucas's team. Now, Team Lucas are siblings. I'm going to go over them. We've got Lucas, who is the younger brother of... Should put tape on this again. Anna and Ella. Now, Anna is a kind of preppy kind of older sister, and Ella is a... it's a goth. She's a goth. She's a goth. She, pretty goth. They both use defensive types, and they're big fans of their brother. They're like a cheer squad for their older brother, Lucas. Lucas is a little embarrassed about it. Anna and Ella, very doting sisters. They're like big fans. They want him to be the Wish King. They're just, having a family road trip kind of deal. And so they begin a battle. And right away, Toshi is just carrying this. Using what almost appears to just be a regular sword, is just destroying Team Lucas. Now, Team Lucas uses something called the fire rope, which is a fiery rope that's on fire that he can swing around like a whip. Then Anna and Lucas use, Anna uses something called a clay doll, which is a clay doll, a doll made of clay, and she can control it with her thoughts, and it is a defensive type. Ella uses something called the defensive baby doll, which is a baby doll. That's also kind of defensive. It can attack and defend. Both can attack and defend. Ella's is made for defense. Ella's is made for... Anna's is made for defense. Ella's is made for defense. I put that backwards. Anna's is made for defense. Ella's is for attacking. It's a crazy fight. They're going back and forth, but Toshi is destroying, knocking Ella out, then knocks Anna out. And Kaido goes in for the hit on Lucas. There's a big explosion outside their battlefield, and they call a timeout. They say, timeout? Something's wrong out there. They're interrupted. And a voice on the intercom, with a really lazy voice, says, hey everyone, come to the lobby, or not, I don't really care. And so they're like, pause. Let's pause the fight. Let's go see what's going on over there. They enter the lobby, and there's a lot of red. It's bloody. There are dead people everywhere, and among the corpses and ripped apart pieces of what was once human are red dogs. They are described, they are the first demon brand we see. The red dog is a wish card that summons a red dog queen, which is the leader of her spawn of things called the red dog, which are dogs that are red and more bean-like. Like they're made of like beans, like blood cells. Blood cell looking beans kind of things. And they are immune to physical attacks and not mental but physical, and can regrow themselves. They regenerate extremely quickly, and they listen to whoever is there. So these dogs are everywhere, and they are tearing apart people. And at the center of it all is a little boy who's on a couch, slamming back, who's the user of Red Dog, named Ricky. I'll get to him when we pull out the old guards. So we've got Ricky, who is, just sitting back, letting his dogs take care of things. Let me get them up on the board. We've got Ricky. Then next to him is 9 girls. 9 girls who all look identical. And Kaido is taken aback because that's his sister. Yes, next to Ricky is Akane. 9 Akanes. Akane is using a demon brand called the Spider Band, which takes its user and transforms them into 9 versions of themselves. They're identical clones, although none of them know who the real Akane is. And this will later get to the culture of Akanes, the way Akanes see each other, and how they feel about each other. The Akanes have ways to tell each other apart, physical differences, mental differences, but for now, it's his sister. He's in shock. And Akane looks over them and says, let's stop the game. Time to stop playing pretend. Get over here, Toshi. That's right. I'm afraid to say Toshi is the final member who is attacking them. Toshi had come and snuck into this fight and had his face transformed. He's now an older man. Notably, he is definitely an adult. Toshi before was appearing like an age around Kaido's age, around 15, 16. He is now no longer that. He is most certainly an adult. Ricky is about Kaido's age, and Akane is older. She's between the two of them. So these three are sitting there, and they are searching for the known blood. They want it for some reason. Now, there's bloodshed and... Oh, bodies, I forgot to mention. Kaido calls out to his sister. He says, Akane, what's going on? You're missing. I've been searching for you. What's going on? And she goes, dear brother, you do not know what your country has done. Heptaria has done crimes, and when I learned of those crimes that day, I could no longer stand by and just allow it to happen, and so I have joined the people who are in the right. And that is a legion known as the Demon Brand, who these three are all members of. They're called the Demon Brand because they use the Demon Brand wish cards, which is, well, again, 160 through 169. There are 9 of them. There are 10 of them. There are 10 of them, sorry, because you have to include... There are 10 of them. There are 10 of them. And so the Red Dogs are going wild, and Kaido is doing his best to defend, but he cannot make use of Bonebreaker as well as he wants to. Because, again, it really hurts to use. And feeling just insanely scared, thinking he's going to die, he screams for help. Clara sees this, and Clara, her eyes begin to glow red. And seeing this, she begins to assault Red Dogs, biting into them like a wild animal. And the Demon Brand, seeing this, decide to flee. They're going to leave. They're freaked out by this. It's not the right time. They got what they wanted. A Red Dog did find known blood. They steal this wish card, and they flee. They leave. But they leave a bunch of Red Dogs behind, though, to clean up, to finish the fight. And before leaving, Akane says, I really hope that you're able to survive this, because I really want to see you again, and I want to tell you so much more, Kaido, but right now I can't explain more. Sorry. And so, they leave. But they leave Red Dogs behind, and Clara is still mangling them. As she looks to Kaido, and she's mangling them, and she says, look, Kaido, I don't feel good. Something is very, very wrong. And Kaido is trying to shake her out of it, but she's in this animal-like state. And it's a lot. And she's assaulting things. Now, meanwhile, Team Lucas is not come out yet. They have stayed there. They went a different direction. They did not come into the lobby. They went a different direction. Now, they are attacked by a Red Dog, and Anna and Ella, goofing around, use 2 wish cards they just received called Humanizer and Wonderland. Humanizer is a wish card that humanizes objects. It's a goof, it's a prank card. It's to mess around, turn the kettle into a person. Now, Wonderland is a card that shrinks things down. It shrinks objects and things. And so they use it on a Red Dog, they shrink a Red Dog to a small size and then humanize it, and it creates something called Red Alice. Red Alice is a Barbie doll-sized person. We'll put her in red and black because she's not an ally to Kaido, but she is an outside force, although partly red because she is loyal to Ricky, who is the user of Red Dog. She is taking it with kind of a, taking it with a bite of salt. Kind of can accept that, okay, I am no longer a perfect Red Dog. There's something wrong here. Nothing very wrong. But she accepts the situation. She still thinks she can do good things for the Red Queen. It is notable to note that she reveals that the Red Dogs can communicate telepathically with each other. They can also communicate with their queen, who lives wherever they went. We'll get to where they went later. But wherever they are, the Red Queen is with them. And they can communicate with her at all times around there. Just a link that they have. So they head out to the lobby with their new ally, still unaware what's really going on. All they know is some creature came after them. Some kind of monster attack, maybe? They come into the lobby, and there's a lot of bloodshed, and they're real paralyzed. And Clara sees them, sees people, can see Red Alice, and just charges at them. Now, Clockwork Doll, the baby doll, I called it, it's Clockwork Doll. We will add that in post. That is called Clockwork Doll. I called it by the wrong name. Clockwork Doll immediately tries to block Clara, but her teeth just smash through it. This should not be possible, even if it's more attack than defensive. Ella's doll should have been able to block a bite from a little girl. But it smashes through it, and she just leaps onto Ella and rips her apart. So Ella loses her face, and she's dead. She's dead. Anna and Lucas are paralyzed with fear, seeing what they thought was their ally Clara just rip their sister's face off and continue to eat them. Kaido begins crying. He's freaking out. He's like, please, Clara, stop. Clara looks to him, and in a weird vibration sense starts to get the shakes, and the meat of Red Dogs and a little bit of probably Ella, they form into the words, I love you, Kaido. Take out the board because she's gone. They form into the words, I love you, Kaido, and that is probably really horrifying to see spelled out in meat. But she faints, she collapses, the chapter ends, silence. Everyone is mortified about what happened. Now, we jump over, the story will continuously jump between Kaido's point of view and characters on the other side in a place called the Demon Brand Home, which is a place somewhere here. Somewhere inside Akazushimiya, they are there. And I should be clear, I didn't really mention what Toshi's demon brand is. It is called the Dimensional Void. He's able to open portals to places he can think of, or people he can think of. But if he does it wrong, he misremembers something, it can be super dangerous. But he's able to, if he can think of a place, he can make a portal to that place, basically, a void. So, they escape through a void, that is how they escape. Now they're at a place called the Demon Brand. The Demon Brand Home is where the Demon Brand live. All this bloodshed is going on. What are these three doing? They've just completed an episode of a rom-com. They've been lying on a couch. They live in a little room inside a huge castle-like place called the Demon Brand Home. Now, at this moment, after finishing the rom-com, Clara has just massacred the Red Dogs and is about to kill Ella. And Ricky gets informed by the Red Queen that all of the Red Dogs were slaughtered. And Ricky's kind of freaked out about that because they didn't see anyone strong when they were there, so who did it? And Red Queen says, hey, it was that girl, and Toshi's like, that's kind of crazy, huh, Akane? Like, your brother's wish card killed him. And that's kind of a big deal. And Toshi asks Akane for permission if he's allowed to report this to the others. If you can let them know, hey, something interesting is going on. Akane says, go for it. If my brother's worth my time, if he's really destined to, be an adversary trying to fight me on this, it's better if he does his own path. If he dies, he dies. I gave him a warning to get off this path and that the country he's fighting for isn't worth it. Isn't worth it. She says, go for it. They continue to carefree vibe as they relax, not really worried about the horrors that are going on over here. Okay, so Clara has fainted. Kaido carries her out. Lucas kind of pulls Anna along. Anna's in a state of shock after seeing her sister mangled by their friend. After walking out, the fire breaks out over the tournament hall, and Kaido sees beside the trees and can see the source of the fire is Piasco, the giant slot machine clown. And he's confused, why would Piasco want to burn this down? Destroying all evidence that this ever happened. That's kind of weird. What does he have to hide? Now, Kaido leaves with Clara on his back. They break apart. Lucas and Anna cannot be around Clara right now. The two of them, it's too dangerous. Anna has angry intent towards Clara. Lucas is trying to be level-headed, but he can't look at Clara right now because she just ate their sister. So they part ways. Team Lucas is going to stay behind, and they're going to, with Alice, they've still got Alice, and they're going to mourn. They're going to mourn at this fire back until they arrive at an inn. Kaido tucks Clara into sleep, During this walk and a half, he is like napping on the side of the road. But for a day and a half, he walks, leaves Clara in this inn, and he decides, you know what? I've got to train. He's got to get stronger. He cannot let his weakness make him lose someone he cares about. He let this girl die because he could not use Bone Breaker. That's how he feels. If he could use Bone Breaker better, his only offensive wish card, maybe then he could do some good. And so, he does it. He goes out to a field and he's training. And Bone Breaker still really hurts. And it like hurts more than using a little. Because just feeling, I mean the initial just pulling a bone through you, piercing through your skin, does not feel good. Bone Breaker does heal the skin, any damage it did to your body. Doesn't really change the fact that you're still having bones come through your body. So Kaido's out training in the field, trying to make himself a little better. Oh gosh. A little better. Back at the Demon Brand home. Back here. With these guys. Ricky informs Kane, teasingly, hey guess what? A guy called Moanas is going to be going to fight your brother. And do you care about that? Because he might make him into, quote unquote, one of his toys. Now, we're going to go to this board, and we're going to start just including the other Demon Brand members. We're not going to. This is where I'm going to put the more main cast, we're going to put side cast, less prevalent characters. These three are pretty prevalent. We get a little bigger on the board. I bought all this board, might as well. I wasted a bunch of stupid pole things on the wall. Did the stupid board up. Anyway, this guy, Moanas, is going after your brother. Do you care, Kane? Kane says, what can Moanas even do? Turn him into one of her toys? If he isn't careful, we'll lose his valuable brand. His demon brand, his ability, very, very important to the demon brand. They value his brand a lot. They do not want him to die. Ricky makes fun of Moanas, and Akane snaps back and is like, you know what? You're pretty low on the totem pole. And Ricky's like, I guess. You know what? Red Dog, pretty impressive ability. That really, should shock you. How could something like Red Dog be low on the totem pole compared to everyone else's abilities? Toshi then snaps in and is like, you know what? You might find Akane, you're pretty low on the totem pole too. Which sucks for both of them. They both pout about it because it's like, oh, come on, leader Toshi, can't you be cool and tell us we're super strong, even if we aren't? Okay. Now, Kaido's training is interrupted by a basement dweller in a mask. Since I can't show my presentation because it's on a computer, picture Moanas, he has this pointy, dirty blonde hair. And he wears a mask at all times, like this, with little sewn on, little stitch mouth smile, and two long, circular, dark eyes. And it has little points like a crown on the top. And he's wearing this, and he's dressed in rags, and he's not a looker. Now, Moanas does not, sneak attack, he just comes out of this look. My name is Moanas, of the Demon Brand. I'm here to kill you. I've taken interest in you, I would like to fight you. And see what happens, maybe you'll catch my interest. And he introduces his Demon Brand. His Demon Brand is card 167, the Sacrificial Resurrection. And he's pretty, just like, yeah, I have an ability, it revives the dead. In a minute, we'll get to how he does it, but he's able to revive the dead, and he also carries a scythe. His Demon Brand isn't very attacking, it isn't very offensive, so he uses a scythe as his weapon, and his Demon Brand brings back the dead. That's kind of weird. We'll get to it. Kaido tries to fight back. He says, I'm going to fight back. I can't lose again. I've gotten a little stronger. I can take someone like you. He loses immediately. Kaido just takes another L. This will be prevalent to a lot of the story, is the reoccurring fact that Kaido, no matter what this little boy does, he's a loser, and he's weak, and he's a little fish in a pond with a lot of big fish. And Kaido's luck is just terrible. He runs into a lot of these big fish. Even as Kaido gets stronger, he just can't help running into the strongest people in the world. It's really sad for him. I wish there was a level curve for him, but there is not. It's the grand run. Here's the grand run. Okay, so Moanas scoops up Kaido. He doesn't kill Kaido, he just scoops him up. And he takes him back, calls Toshi to open a void. No, sorry. He does not take him to his lab. We'll get later in a Moanas lab. This does not take place in Moanas lab. This takes place out in a room at an abandoned inn, an old inn. So Moana takes him there, along with some equipment he brought along, and straps Kaido down to a chair. Kaido comes to, and Moana's like, hey, welcome to Awake, check this out, and holds up a small child by the throat, and holds him out to him. And Kaido's like, huh? And then he snaps the child's neck, and the child falls to the ground, and Kaido's eyes follow the child as it falls, and the child falls into a pile of bodies. A lot of bodies. And this is where Moana explains how his ability works. He's able to revive the dead, including his own, no, that's later. Sorry, I was about to reveal another thing about his ability. This part of his ability comes later. The part he reveals to Kaido is that, at the cost of 99 souls, he can put one soul back into a body. Any body of his choosing. We'll get into other ways he can use this brand, but not now. And so Kaido looks at this Moana and can now see the souls that are inside Moana. Moana is able to tank all the souls he doesn't use, and they take the form of these purple smoky hands that fly and like fling around Moana. And he can control them to some extent, but they also sort of have a mind of their own because they are controlled by the souls of all the people he's killed that he hasn't used. When he uses his ability, those 99 souls, they're free, they're released. He no longer has control over them. So just seeing about 4 or 5 arms, Kaido gets the impression, this guy has not killed 99 people, he's killed a lot more people, he just killed those 99 to use them. So he's got a revive stocked up. And Kaido's like, what does this have to do with me? And Moana says, look to your legs. And Kaido looks, and he does not see legs, he sees bones. And he looks to his arms, and he sees bones. And Moana then reveals that he is not about to use his brand, that he's already done it while Kaido was out. And Kaido has now found himself in the body of his skeleton. Moana killed him while he was asleep, skinned him, took all the flesh off, took all the meat, all the muscle, had a skeleton out, strapped a skeleton down, and forced Kaido's soul back into a skeleton. Kaido is now in a skeleton. Kaido begins trying to weep. He's unable to weep because he has no tear ducts, and just starts to ask, why? Why did you do this? And Moana says, isn't it obvious? I wanted to see you use your wish card. Now, without skin, you can use Bone Breaker without having to be scared. You no longer can feel pain of skin being pierced because your body is entirely made of bone. You have probably a huge, drastically raise the amount of damage you can do. I believe, he thinks. Kaido, pretty upset. I'd probably be upset if someone skinned me alive and then brought me back to life. Probably better he's alive, because he has things he wants to do. But he is a skeleton now. Kaido easily slices through the straps, attacks Moana, and cuts Moana's arms and legs off. Then, trying out an idea, he takes his rib cage, transforms it, and creates a cage out of it around Moana's body and head, and makes a bone cage. And makes a little handle on the top and carries the cage out of this inn and walks back home to where the inn is, where Clara is still sleeping. Now he throws Moana in the closet, says, I'm going to deal with you later, sits down on the edge of the bed next to Clara. Clara, in a half-awake state, looks at him and goes, you're looking a little more bony than I remember. Hilarious. Clara is not alarmed yet. She's half asleep, just making jokes. Not yet worried about how this happened to Kaido. Now, Kaido sits there for a bit, really processing, he's just got a fight, he won the fight. He's feeling a little good for himself, right? He got the W, W, he won, he got a fight, he got a win, he got a fight, and he won. He's strong now. Underestimated Moana. He hears a creaking sound of little legs on the ground. And he looks down at the edge of the bed and sees at the door to the closet where he locked up Moana are all of Moana's limbs. Each of his limbs had been revived on their own and are, like with a mind of their own, coming back to Moana to try to get back to him to reattach. Then, worse to worse, as he goes to inspect this, a new figure appears. And this figure is a man in a trench coat with an eye patch. And this person is surrounded by paper knives. Knives made of paper. And this person goes over to the closet, opens it, lets the limbs reattach themselves to Moana as Moana breaks through the cage, now with arms and legs, and starts to make fun of him. And Moana, how can you get captured? You're such an idiot. You're such a little dork. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to come rescue. And Moana introduces his partner, Karna. Karna is actually a girl, not a guy in a trench coat, a girl who dresses like a guy. She dresses like a guy, very boyish style. We'll get into more of that, why she dresses that way. There is a reason for why she has to dress like a guy right now. We'll get to that. But they are partners. They offhandedly mention the demon brand work in partners, all except for Team Toshi, which work in a pair. Because Toshi and Ricky are partners, but Akane hangs out with them. Akane does not have a partner because the only other group who is uneven, because there are 10 demon brand, so there's an even number, but there's someone who works alone, and we will get to why they work alone, and why there was an odd number, so someone had to join another team. And since Akane is good friends with Ricky and Toshi, she joined their partnership, made it a trio. But these two partners, now we're introduced to Karna's overpowered ability called Paper Sword. Karna has a certain amount of paper she can make blades out of. Now these blades can form into one giant sword. They can also, the smaller they get, the more blades she can create. Kind of like an origami sword. She's making knives, blades out of origami, and she can control them, and they fly around the room, and they're pretty powerful, and Kaido just gets swept again. Knocked off his feet, Karna notices that there's a girl asleep, goes to attack her, but the type of blade she's using, we don't talk about why this blade does this, but the blade refuses to hit Clara. And there's a reason for that, and this really startles Karna. Karna goes, oh shoot, that's not good. The blade didn't hit her. That means something. We'll talk about what type of blade she decided to use in this fight. She was being annoying and using a special type of blade that doesn't just do damage, it does another thing. It hit Kaido without an effect, but when it came to Clara, it did not hit. And so, Karna's like, let's retreat. Retreat for the day. They easily see Moana back, and they run. And them leaving leaves Kaido to just kind of sigh and be like, sorry for himself. And Clara wakes up, and she's like, hey, I really like your new form. It's really cool. Now, we jump over to the Demon Brain home again. Back here, we see what happened to these guys after they left. They left. We're leaving Kaido and Clara, who are just making up, and they're just chatting about what's happened to Kaido, about how he's not a skeleton. He's filling her in. Back home, Karna forces Moana to thank Toshi for allowing them to open a portal to go rescue Akane. The Akanes immediately are jumping all over Karna. They like her hair. This will become a pretty big thing about Akane. Akane has a thing for hair. Like, she really likes playing with girls' hair. And so, Karna's a girl, plays with her hair. Akanes then say that they wish Karna would dress like a woman. To which Mora says she dresses this way because Lord Jiro said she had to. So now we're introducing a new character called Lord Jiro. This is the solo person we talked about earlier. He's pretty important, so I'll put him above everyone else. Lord Jiro is the leader of the Demon Brand. We'll get into him more, but the reason, at least according to Morana, why Karna dressed like a guy is because Lord Jiro said she had to. And then it explains that at one point, Karna confessed her feelings to him at some point, and after that, he would like her to dress more like a guy to make him more comfortable around her. That sucks to be Karna, you know? But we'll get into more about the romance between these two, the kind of history Karna has with Lord Jiro, and Toshi, and another member of the Demon Brand. We'll get into it later. Anyway. Once back, these two leave, they thank Toshi, they go back to their part. We now see the Demon Brand home, broken into kind of sectors of the house. This humongous house with large basements and large bedrooms, and the sectors where they lived. These two return to their sector. And once back, Karna slices Morana's limbs off for making her go through all that teasing. Karna's kind of, you know, she's insecure, she's really sensitive when it comes to her feelings for Lord Jiro. Morana let that teasing happen. She's annoyed by it. And so she cuts him up, Morana reattaches his limbs. Again, just to be clear, every time he has to reattach his limbs, he is spending 99 souls to have to do that. So 99 times 4 limbs. Yeah. Anyway, so Morana leaves their bedroom to head down to the basement, where he goes to his pets. The basement, we'll get into a lot about the Demon Brand home's basement. It is a lab for Morana, as well as where they keep things. Either it be the pets, or there are certain people who are in the basement. but they have to be kept there. These pets are referred to be as no longer able to be called human. Moana has done experiments. We'll get into more about the history of experiments and how Moana's demon brand, the sacrificial resurrection, there's kind of a culture that surrounds it that for Jiro's pleasure and his family's pleasure, you need to create monsters to amuse him. Jiro's family has a weird thing about enjoying fusing humans with things, using the sacrificial resurrection that can put souls into any body you create. Kind of weird. Moana takes his duty seriously. He keeps these monsters. Okay. We're gonna jump back to Kaido and Clara. These two finish catching up. They leave the inn. The inn is destroyed from the attack from Karna. Karna's attack with their knives tore up the beds, tore up the walls. Kaido doesn't have enough money for that. So they flee, which I'll admit is a crime in this world. They've committed a crime, they fled without paying for the inn, minus the night they paid for. They head into town, and in that town, they hear a crowd, and they're drawn by the word Demon Brand. They're like, shoot, Demon Brand's here, let's kill him. They go up and they find a podium on a big stage, and there are knights, guys in armor. We'll now get into a big part of the culture of Heptaria, which is the Holy Church of Piacio, which is the main church of Heptaria. It's the main religion, and it is one that worships Piacio in a form kind of like modern Christianity sees Jesus. They see Piacio like Jesus because Jesus was the Son of God, and Piacio is the creation of God. God created the 200 wishes for the Wisher. The Wisher designed them, but God's power gave the ability for these cards, and because Piacio is the one who gives these, he's the one who shares the body, the fruits of God's gifts. And so, in a way, they see him like Jesus. This weird clown slot machine. It's kind of weird. But these people on the test are not church members. They are the holy knights of Piacio. They are the main defense of Heptaria. Heptaria is guarded by the knights of Piacio. They are part of the church. We'll get into more of how the church controls the country, along with they do have a king and queen, although at the moment they are only, we'll get into later about how they currently only have a princess. The king and queen are currently dead. So there's no royals ruling Heptaria right now. Instead, there is a upcoming monarch, and there is the person who's in charge of the entire church, kind of like a pope, but they don't call him a pope. We will get to him later in his importance in the whole control of this whole world. But right now, all you need to know is that the church is kind of like hand in hand with the monarch. The monarch rely on them, and in this time of need, where there is no monarch, the church is ruling, and the country is guarded by the knights of Piacio versus the knights of Heptaria. So the knights of Piacio are giving a talk to the world that the demon brand are moving again. Akazushi Miya, people are moving in this country. This country has plans again. They're thinking about resuming the Jewel War. Remember, the Jewel War is a war these two countries fought over resource and Runois. It's not the first time these two countries have fought. These countries, as far as Heptarians know, have always been at war. It's just a thing the two are always fighting. We'll get into later why the Jewel War ended. It did not win with a... What you need to know now is it did not... No one won. No one won. No one won the Jewel War. They both just kind of stopped fighting so they could heal. An event happened that ended the Great Battle of Jewel, which would be the final Jewel, and final part of the Jewel War. And we'll get into that. I'm saying Jewel a lot. We'll get into that later. There's a later importance where we learn about it, because right now Kaido doesn't actually know much about this war, because again, he's 15, he's uneducated, he doesn't go to school. Heptarians are kind of uneducated. I will make it clear, other countries have schools. This is not a world without schools. Heptarians just don't go to school unless they want to not be wishers. People who care about being normal go to school. People like Kaido, who just want wish cards, are obsessed with wish cards. They do a lot of self-study. We'll get into the Demon Brand's studies. It comes up later, how they do school. But, side tangent, Kaido doesn't know that yet about this war. But the Holy Knights are talking about how the Demon Brand have been making moves. They've invaded into the Heptaria again, and they are making moves. They are freaking doing things. Just like how Kaido saw them steal that wish card. Why they do that, we don't know. But they're moving to a crusade. We're going to go on a crusade today. And we're going to kill a member of the Demon Brand. And Kaido's like, blah, blah, blah. Because Kaido's never killed a Demon Brand member. And so far, he is, let's count him up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is 0 in 5. He has lost a battle against these 3, and then these 2, only beating Moana 1 time, and not really a real win, only temporarily wounding him. And it maybe was more like Moana let that happen for fun. So Kaido hearing these knights talk so calmly that they're going to kill a Demon Brand, and we'll get into more of their history of hunting the Demon Brand, but they're going to kill one today. And so Kaido's like, hey, Clara, let's go. Clara's like, that's kind of weird. I don't really know if I want to do that. But Kaido prevails. He says, let's do it. So they go along, they get on a carriage, like a wagon carriage with a bunch of wagons, a bunch of knights being pulled by horses. A group of knights come, and they explain that today, a knight with green hair starts talking to them and says, hello. Today, we're going to be hunting a member called Matty. And I'm just going to say Matty here. Matty. He is the user of a Demon Brand called Last Train Home. What does it do? It summons trains. Just trains that are moving. Shoots trains at you, blocks with trains, summons a full locomotive. Matty is guessed to be around 8 or 12. That is very much a child. It is very weird that they are going to go massacre a child. But he has an evil card, so they have to do it. And so they show up, and this child runs for his life. But the knights are very experienced in hunting Demon Brands. They know what they're doing. And they quickly slice Matty's legs off. Matty summons a train. He pulls himself along by the train. He tries to escape. The knight who had been talking to them earlier gets the winning blow. And they brutally surround Matty. And they begin to just slice and dice with their spears and swords. And just kill him. So Matty, nice knowing you, you're dead. Matty's dead. But they won. The Demon Brand's dead. The Demon Brand card, they pull that out of his pocket. The Demon Brand floats up into the air, crumbles in the air into like a little paper, and just disappears. Kind of like, what's going on? The knight then explains. Demon Brands can't be captured. You can't get a Demon Brand. You have to be chosen by a Demon Brand to get one. So, all that's going to happen now that they defeated Matty, if someone else in this country here, Akinazushimiya, is going to be given a Demon Brand. The knight makes a note of it. Demon Brands only go to Akazushimiyans. It is the only type of wish card an Akazushimiyan can use. Kaido's a little confused. His sister, Kane, not an Akazushimiyan. Why does she have one? What? Demon Brand only choose this, but Kane. What's going on there? That's kind of weird. So, the knight says, yeah. So some random child or person in this country is going to wake up, and a wish card is going to appear. Piacia will appear before them, and he will give them this curse. And that person then will have to be hunted by the knights. But the knights also seem a little racist. He's like, yeah, we just have to kill them all. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're given the curse. Like, it sucks because you're going to be killed first. Everyone in this country has to be killed at some point. They all have unpure blood. They do not have Hepatarian blood, therefore they have to die. So that's a little weird. Now, getting right onto that, this knight who I'll just say his name. We're going to just say his name. His name is Genta. We'll come into more about what Genta's doing. Let's put him on this side. Okay, I'll get to this side. So Genta is his name. It's the lead knight. He's important to the knights. We'll get into how he's important. But he starts sniffing around at Clara and says, I quote, I can smell it on you, the stench of the outside. And says that Clara came from outside the walls. Clara's like, huh? I'm a wish card girl. What do you mean I came from outside the wall? He's a little freaked out by it. But he says his suspicion here, we'll talk about it later. He will look more into Clara and why she smells like the outside, but he can just sense it on her, that she is not a Heptarian. He's convinced she comes out from outside this border's wall, which Kaido's like, what wall? Kaido, again, uneducated, no idea there's a huge wall that goes along this border, stopping at Genopus, which has a different type of border that is not a wall. There's a wall that comes here to here. I believe it concludes Rainobu's little corner. Anyway, they head back. Meanwhile, oh shoot. Meanwhile, back at the demon brand home, a little girl is crying. And she's crying over the loss of her partner. This girl is Venus. Her name is Venus. She is about Maddie's age, about 8 to 12. I believe she's actually 11, is the exact age she'll later say. But she looks 8 to 12. She's a little girl. She is sobbing her eyes out. And Lord Jiro, the Lord, his first full appearance in the book series, is comforting her. And he says that he'll get revenge for everyone, not just Maddie, but everyone who's ever fallen against these people. And that maybe one day, in their time of need, they'll be able to call on Maddie's soul for help. Okay. Back to these guys. Over here, Kaito and Clara. Just that chapter ends with us finding out about Venus. This chapter starts, we're back to Kaito and Clara. Okay, well ahead of myself, this is where Genta introduces himself as Genta. Before he was just the green-haired knight. Now we know he is Genta. And we go back to the Holy Knight building. This is a big building. It is not where they came from, which is kind of weird because they thought they were going back towards where they came from. They go to a different building. And this building, they're led into a big room filled with a large crowd. Among these people in this crowd are Lucas, Anna, and Red Alice. They're there too. They're like, dead. Are you socially trapped here too? And these three explain they got lured in by food, just hospitality. They thought they were being nice. They now have to stick around for some kind of presentation. On this room, there's a big crowd, and then there's a big stage inside this building with all these stained glass windows. It's a beautiful night building. On this, there are 4 thrones and 1 big throne in the back. Way back, like dusty, doesn't look no sense. Now, who walks out but Genta? Genta sits on a throne. In the book, it talks about, I believe, his throne has a clover on it, which we'll come up later. Then, another person in a helmet takes a seat on a second throne, not next to him. There are 3 empty thrones, including the biggest one. They're empty. There are only 2 of the 5 there. So the knights begin a presentation on the names and faces of all the known demon brand, but first, they thank Genta and this masked figure for coming to be in the audience for this important presentation. They also refer to them as the divine, and we'll go into more detail about what the divine mean, what it means to be a divine. So the faces we get to see are, we get to see Venus, we get to see Murana, we get to see Kara, we get to see Toshi, we get to see Riki, and we do get to see Akane. And they do know Akane is a traitor to this country. She's disgusting. She's the lowest of the low. She has pure blood. It is the worst kind of sin in the church is that a high blood like Akane would go and betray their country and go live among the Akazushimians and take their side of this battle. Then finally, they talk about Lord Jiro. They say, you know what? He is the Lord. He is the leader. He is descendant of the king of Akazushimian. They don't have kings, they have lords. The lord of this land, his father, is the lord who died during the Jewel War. During the Jewel War, he died. After the Jewel War ended, and this stalemate started, where we're at this kind of like standstill sitting, Lord Jiro took place. Lord Jiro has a really strong card. They just say that. They don't say what it is, because no one has lived to find out what family, what the lords are passing on. Father to son, passing down a demon brand. And Lord Jiro has it, whatever brand attack that his father had, which is what they used to make the standstill happen. A big event happened with Lord Jiro's father and other people from Heptaria. And this event is what killed his father, but it's also what forced them to have to finally go, stop, we do not have enough troops to keep this war going. They're tired, we're tired, let's stop for a little bit. Not a truce, we're just stopping. We're both tired, collapsing. Anyway, they also identify Akazushimiya, neighboring Heptaria. Surely there's a map in this world somewhere. This still comes to a shock to Kaito. Kaito is like, that's the neighbor? Oh. It is a little hard to tell off this map to tell who is the biggest. Again, Geopus is definitely the smallest. Akazushimiya is slightly smaller than Heptaria. And Runois is long and it's mostly wooded area. So, mostly city, mostly ruins and slums and small towns. And then Runois. Akazushimiya's personal, a little finances isn't like said in this chapter, but there's no harm in knowing financially Heptaria pretty average about modern world economics. Akazushimiya is in a recession. Not a recession. They're in a bubble right now. Money is coming in. They are rebuilding after the Jewel War. A lot of interesting new things are being invented. Renuus, hermits, Geno Opus, unknown. They do not know what's going on over there, but something's going on there, and it is pretty big, pretty big. Sorry, forgive me. I was just confirming we're still recording, because imagine I did all this talk and we're only. It stopped recording. I think it hit a limit. Anyway. Where was I? Okay. The four divine, they're called the four divine. Genta and the masked man are called the four divine. There are two more divines somewhere. That's what the other two thrones are. Who's the big throne? We'll talk about that later. But at this meeting, after all these things going, Genta declares, that girl right there, Clara, you are a spy. You are a spy, you are a spy, you are a dirty, dirty spy. I can smell Akazushimiya on you, and you know what? I am here for it. And she's like, I'm not a spy, I'm a wish card. And he goes, bring the Holy Mirror wish card. The Holy Mirror wish card, a super rare wish card that undoes all transformation cards. Any transformation card you got, it undoes it. And so he pauses the effect of wish cards. And so if she really is a wish card, she'll just disappear, I guess. I don't know, kill her or something. Anyway, they use it on her, and Clara begins to transform. Her hair goes from a, shoot, we haven't mentioned this. She's blue hair, turns black. Clara collapses after this card is used to her. She's noticeably older now. She's gone from looking about 12 to looking more like she's 16, 17, 15 to 17, somewhere in there. The timeline is a little rough on this one. Anyway, Red Alice understands the danger Clara is in now. She's just been revealed as an Akazushimiyan. This is proof she's Akazushimiyan. And so Red Alice, understanding the danger without even asking permission from the other two, she uses her ability, calls Red Queen, says, Red Queen, please send some help for us. And so Akane appears through a void and snatches Clara away, stealing her to Akazushimiya. She sees her brother, she says, hey, a bunch of red dogs pour through the void before it closes, and a battle between the red dogs and the knights begins. This will be the end of the Wish King arc. The Wish King arc is over, and we're now going into the Journey for Clara arc. Happy made note of that. Journey for Clara arc. It's really sad. My presentation had like pictures and stuff to like really help. Can't show it on screen because it doesn't show up, one, and two, I needed to read off to look at the little points. Okay. First chapter, chapter 15 of the Journey for Clara arc. You're like, wow, we're making good speed. Here's the scary part. The chapters in Wish King arc are the shortest of them all. That's why, I don't know how long this video's gone so far. We're only through 14 chapters. They get longer. Like, I swear there are almost 100 slides in this presentation, just for a heads up. We've just gone through like 20 of them. The next 70 so are just going to be the Journey for Clara arc, which takes place between 15 and 27. That is 12 chapters. It's not the shortest. I mean, it's not the longest. Actually, I think it might be the longest arc. Journey for Clara. A lot happens in Journey to Clara. It could be broken up. But the way it was originally published was that Journey for Clara was all one arc. Okay. Journey to Clara. Here we go. Here we go. Woo, woo, woo. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm giddy. Here we go. This is an exciting scene. I really like this chapter. Okay, we start. This is called Maddie's funeral. Maddie, that's the train user. He's dead. He's having a funeral. A funeral is beginning here at the HQ. They're in a cathedral of some sorts. It is not in the Demon Brand home. It is somewhere in Akazushimiya. Somewhere here, there's a broken down cathedral, and they're having a funeral here. The funeral begins. This funeral is happening prior to Kaido and Clara making it inside that meeting. So this meeting is only about to begin. They're walking in as this funeral with these guys is happening. So they'll cross in a minute. Hey, Toshi makes a note in this chapter that as he walks into the cathedral, 2 demon brands are missing. They are the 2 that are not on here right now. There are 2 more that are not present on this board right now. They are the 2 who did not show up to this funeral. But he makes also a note that they don't usually show up for this kind of stuff. They're kind of their own kind of people. They're different. They're not really emotional. They're not really interested in talking about a funeral. Don't really care for funerals. Ooh, my skeleton. I'm gonna lose this poster. Okay, so I'm watching you. Okay. Where were we? Sorry, I just want to make sure this poster is all. Okay. Venus sobbing a lot. Little Venus, little girl, freaking sobbing. She's got silver hair, little girl, cute little thing. And one by one, every member comes up and says some few words. Just because we're summarizing, we don't need to go into all the words. You should really go in and read the chapter. The chapter is chapter 15. I believe it is chapter 15. I'm pretty confident it's chapter 15. Chapter 15, pretty cool chapter. We're just going over, so we don't really need to go into all the details of everything people say. People are like, hey, really sucks, we'll get on one day. Angel says a few words. Venus's turn, final person to talk. She explains that they were literally going to go on a picnic the next day, and how sad she is to lose him, and that she wants revenge. And everyone's like comforting her, she's crying, holding back tears, tissue box. After the service, they're finished. Liturgio says some words that one day we'll all be reunited, that through the parade we'll all be reunited. The parade, huge thing for the Akazushimians. Most of the Akazushimians not fully sure what the parade is, but it is part of their belief that all our souls will be reunited in the parade. We'll get into what the actual parade is. And what the parade is, it has a lot to do with Lord Gio. We'll get into it later. All he says is he makes that reference. A little seed for later. Okay. After the funeral. Akane goes through a void after being alerted by Ricky. After the funeral. Ricky's like, hey, I just got an alert from Red Queen. Red Alice, that spy girl, that girl who's with the humans. She's found an Akazushimian. They're in trouble. It's also that girl Clara. Crazy. Akane goes through. She goes through the void. She returns with a black-haired girl. The Akane's immediately upon their return, having this cute, unconscious black-haired girl. What do? Like I said, Akane freaking loves hair. Starts playing with her hair. What are you gonna do? They're like, wow, this is pretty cool. Pretty girl. Akane's can't control their impulses to just start playing with girls. They really like playing with girls' hair. We'll get into later about the whole kind of things that affected her psyche of what kind of things led Akane to be so into being sisterly. So they start painting her nails, dressing her up, and doing her hair to make her look really nice. Clara wasn't looking very nice because she was real dirty. She got beat up. It was an interesting fight. Okay, Ricky and Toshi notably make they know about fashion. They think Akane's did a good job. They approve. Akane's like, hey, can we keep her? Toshi says it's a Jiro's call. Jiro gets to decide if she can stay, but probably not. But Akane asks, Ricky, can you go? Can you go get her? Ricky runs off, ghost gets Lord Jiro. Toshi is aware. Oh, you're right. Okay, now we get into the psyche. Sorry, I knew it was this. Okay, Toshi makes a note that he's very aware that Akane never got to raise her younger sibling, and Akane is in a constant psychologically looking to find a new sibling to replace Kaido. The boy she abandoned. She feels real bad about that. She doesn't like letting him. All the time she's seen him now, she's tried to be kind of tough and cool and evil and be what he thinks she is. But really deep down, she's really messed up that she just abandoned her little brother. And she's always wanted to raise a kid. And also, she just likes doing hair. Also, there's a lot of Akanes, Akanes get bored of playing with Akanes. Anyway, Toshi says a quote that Akane's a really good girl, and she is very considerate and thinks about other people. And makes the quote, maybe that's why Piasso gave her a demon brand, because she was someone who could accept us. That is just noting that, again, Piasso, for some reason, on her 15th birthday, gave her a demon brand. That's not supposed to happen. Why that happened, we'll continue to go into why that happened. But for now, all you know, Toshi doesn't actually know either. And he just believes that since she's a good person, and she's willing to listen to other people, maybe that is why she was given a demon brand. Okay, Clara wakes up. She wakes up. She's confused. Akane's, Clara's like, who are you people? Immediately recognizes these three. Well, not these three. Ricky's gone. Ricky's in the other. Akane and Toshi recognizes them. Because you guys are the bad guys. What'd you do to Kaido? Give him back. Little baby punches. But it's more like, because, she's weak. And also, kind of tired, not really used to her body, because her body's different. Kanes are like, hey, we rescued you, you're Akazushimian. She goes, no, I'm not. I'm not even a person. I'm a wish card. They go, that's a little silly. You're obviously one. And they pull up her leg to the that is the chains. The chains don't mean you're part of a wish card. It means you're a slave. And Clara's like, I don't know if she should trust him or not. She's confused. Jiro appears. Jiro tells Ricky, bring her to me. They bring her to Jiro with fast travel through a void. Use a void really quick over there. Jiro says, I will break the slave mark. Clara says, you promise you won't harm me. He goes, I'm a lord. I literally am not lying. What is the harm? He makes the point, what is the harm? What is the harm if I break this slave mark? Worst case scenario, you have to have it put back on if you liked it so much. And so, she allows him, and your Lord Jiro, using an ability we don't fully understand yet, breaks it. The mark breaks, the chains on her legs disappear, the one disappears, and suddenly Clara is flooded with memories of a previous life. A life before Clara. A life before she woke up with Kaito. And Clara is no more. There's no more Clara. There is now, over on this side, I'll put right here, Terra. Her name is Terra. She remembers being Terra. Terra is her real name. Her name is not Clara. The question is, who is Clara though? Why did she think her name was Clara? That's a little weird. Okay. Back to Kaito. On Kaito's side, Kaito is in shock because he just lost Clara. He's, whoa, freaked out. Alice is on her own, talking to Anna, going, I don't know if I helped. Clearly Alice is making attempts to be a good person. In this retrospective, I really do have to skip over a lot of dialogue, because a lot of dialogue between Alice and Anna, also weirdly dialogue between Venus and another character, don't really help a lot. There's not a lot of story point to what they say, but they do a lot of characterization of just, I'll try to do a brief over just the emotion of things. Right now, Alice feels pretty bad. She's trying to do a good thing, trying to help Clara. But what she really did was make Kaito sad. And she doesn't want Kaito to be sad, she wants to be his friend. So Alice feels bad. But Anna says she did the right thing. Now, they're still in the middle of this fight, Red Dog attacking Knights, but they're able to sneak off. Team Lucas agrees to help fight the Demon Brand, get Clara back. So Kaito, now joined by Team Lucas, that's Anna and Red Alice. All three of them make up Team Lucas. They're chased by Knights, but they escape through the door outside. It's white outside. There is nothing. This is where we're introduced to something called Divine Mindscape, which is the divine card of the person who's in the mask, who I'm about to put up his name. We're going to get to that in a second. Oh, we're there. Nice. Okay, so the guy in the helmet. Name is... I just dropped that tape. No, I didn't. Okay. Name? Trafa. Trafa is younger than Genta. He is older than Kaito, though. But we will get more to him. Okay. Yeah, Trafa. Member of the Holy Knights of Knights. Not only that, he is a divine user, and he's a member of the Divine. Use Divine Wish Card 196. That's, I think the Divine cards are in the 90s. In the 190s? Okay. His Wish Card sucks them into his mind. He's able to draw people in to knock them out. So in real life, Kaito, Lucas, Anna, Red Alice, these four, fast asleep somewhere in the back rooms. They've collapsed somewhere. They fell into the mindscape. So inside, Trafa says, you've got to face your sins. And when you face your sins, you're going to realize you're all terrible people, and you need to pledge your allegiance to Apteria, and you'll probably join the Knights or something. I don't know. You'll be better people. You'll realize what your calling is. So we start out with Kaito. Kaito sees depictions of Clara shaking. She's shaking, having seizures. There are spikes going through her. She's calling for his help, but he can't help her. And Trafa he's calling to Kaito. He's whispering things in his head and going, why are you crying? She's just a wish card. It doesn't matter what you do, you can just summon a new one. Kaito's like, no, she's special. I love her. Then, headless Clara starts attacking, clenching Kaito as she cries, saying, you let me die. You let me take them. How could you? You swine, because you're saying all these mean things. And suddenly now Trafa moves his attack. Trafa's moving over to the attack, talking about, you have an evil sister. You're probably just like her. If she's a traitor, you're probably a traitor. And now these Ikanes are all clenching him into hugs, and he's suffocating her. But they're also ripping him apart. They start ripping at him. Even though he's all bones and he doesn't have nerves anymore, and he shouldn't be able to feel skin, he can feel the feeling of skin being ripped off his body. And it's painful, and he passes out from fear and scaredness. Now we move on. What's going on? Lucas and Anna wake up in a small bedroom. They recognize it. It is in the old home where they lived with Ella. They hear the sound of a piano. They go downstairs. What do they find? It is Ella. It is Ella. Ella is covered in blood and is also covered in stitches, as if someone picked up all the pieces of Ella from that day at the tournament and sewed them back together. So it's kind of scary. It doesn't look human. It's a little weird, but they can tell it's Ella. And Ella asks them as they sit there and they let her play the piano. They don't interrupt. They just sit there and watch until Ella turns to them, stops playing piano, and goes, "Why'd you let me die?" And they're like, "We're really sorry." And Lucas has a line I wrote down on the screen, so I can tell you because I really like this one. "A day does not go by that I did not think of you, but revenge is never right." Lucas is not a believer in revenge. He is always on the fence if revenge is right, and in this one, he voices this for the first time, why he's so against going after the demon brand and fighting them. That's why even when he agreed to help Kaido get Clara back, he never said he wanted to get revenge. He didn't say he wanted to kill the demon brand. He just wants to help him get a girl back. But Ella just keeps berating them, saying, "You could have done something if you're stronger, if you loved me more." But they embrace her. They accept their dead sister and brush aside they have any need for revenge. Ella, Lucas, they both agree. It isn't about revenge. Revenge will not bring you back to life, Ella. We love you. We're sorry you died, but we know you're watching over us. You're not really our sister. You're a demonized version of her. And they win. They're gone. They kill her mournfully. They're both still depressed. They're both crying, but they did it. Now we get to Red Alice, the final person stuck in this mindscape. Even Red Alice, who is a wish card, has a mindscape. Red Alice finds herself in a room full of corpses. And Treff is like, "These are all the people you've killed, Alice." And she looks at it, looks at the number, counts them up on her fingers and goes, "Yeah, I think so. I think that's about right." And Treff is like, "Don't you feel bad?" And Alice says, "No, not really. Such is life." She says, she shares her such is life philosophy that it's kill or be killed in this world. She's also well aware, even if she's a tiny person, fairy-like person, still a dog, still an animal. Animals do what animals do. It's kill or be killed. They could have killed her just as easily as she killed them. Oh what? Poof! She escapes the mindscape. She finds herself outside. She wakes up. She finds Lucas and Anna. Kaido is still asleep. He's inside. He's stuck inside the mindscape, being crushed by the weight of his sisters. Lucas and Anna pick him up and they run out of the building. End of chapter. They retreat out of the knight's home. Kaido is still connected to the mindscape, but hopefully he'll break free and escape the torture. Back at the demon brand home. Okay, Terra is conflicted. She's conflicted about her feelings because she now has memories as Clara and as Terra. She remembers who she was, but she also is now stuck with all these memories and these feelings. She can remember what it felt to be Clara. She can feel the overwhelming urge to protect Kaido, the one who summoned her. The love she felt for him, because at the time she would have died for Kaido. But now she's a person again, not a Clara, and whatever that is, and doesn't feel that way, so she's conflicted. Jiro, still with her, says he wants to watch over her, and asks for volunteers. The comments, they like her. They say, "We want to volunteer." Jiro says, "No. You have other things I need to use you for. You guys are really useful. It wouldn't be fair if only a couple of Kanes got to watch over her and not the others. Group effort, only fair. You guys have work to do, someone else." And so Terra is brought to Venus, the little girl. Venus looks at Terra, says, "Jiro, is this my new partner? I thought it was going to be a guy." This reinstates the first hint that it is pretty typical that partners are made up of guys and girls. Girl, boy, two boys, and the other pair, one guy and girl. But Lord Jiro says, nope. Just a girl we want you to watch over. So Venus takes her in, takes her to a bedroom. It's like it's a little girl's room, but a nice bed. They've got a really big bed. Weird thing about across the series, Demon Brand have really good beds for some reason. Like a lot of the chapters will note that they have large beds. Like they live in comfort despite living in an unknown area known as the Demon Brand home, which we'll get into where that is. It is not entirely here, but not entirely there. It's kind of somewhere. We'll get into why it's a confusing place. But for now, just think of it like it's in Akazushimi, a place that's usually more in a bubble of economy where things are getting better, but they were still pretty trashy. Only certain areas are. Point is, they start playing together. Venus shares that she doesn't often play with the others. The Akanes like playing with her because she's a girl and likes playing with hair. And Karna avoids her. Avoids her a lot. She doesn't know why. Karna just doesn't like being around Venus. And then she says that her only true friend, her best friend, was Maddie. And she shares these little like couple words that kind of express that she kind of had their life planned out. She thought she'd marry Maddie. Not happening. Little girl playhouse kind of like, oh, we were gonna get married. Tara's interested in learning more about the Demon Brand and small things, like how the teams form. Venus is 11. Yeah, I get that. I was right. Venus is 11, and thus she doesn't actually know the reason of why team leaders are formed. She thinks they're just like the leader type. The leaders are the leaders. The team layout is not like just replacing. There's reasons. Venus is then like, hey, you want to see something cool? Tara's like, yeah, I'll see something cool. And Venus says, I want to show you my special job, but first we have to do a couple jobs. So they venture around the Demon Brand home, and they do a bunch of odd jobs, little dishes, little laundry for the others. Like, Venus is very helpful. We'll get into why Venus is... All Demon Brand help out with chores, but Venus is very big on doing a lot of them. A lot of odd jobs. Anyway, after all these chores, Venus leads them down to the dungeon. This is the dungeon where Moanas' pets are kept. Moanas' lab and his pets are down here. We're noting this chapter again, we see more monsters that are in cages in like a prison cell. They walk past that. They arrive at the end of a hall of cages, and they go into a room with, again, here's another mention of a large bed at the center. This room is a huge room with just a bed in it. Huge open room, center of the room there's a bed. And so we walk over to this bed, and to make sure you're right, in the center of this bed is a girl. There's a girl asleep in it. She has long green hair. It is crazy to think about green hair. A lot of characters have green hair. It goes back and forth if she has green hair or if she has blonde hair. It has yellow highlights. So this is, I think, the start of where later in the series it's referred to just having yellow hair. So there's no real connection of how it went from her first appearance having long green hair with yellow highlights to yellow hair. Continuity error? Maybe. Or she just dyed it. I don't know. But her hands and legs are tied down with chains. But it doesn't seem to bother her because she is asleep. And this girl is then, Venus introduces her as Nermosa of the Four Divine. That's right, there is one of the Four Divine is just locked up inside the Demon Brand's home. Venus then introduces, this is her Demon Brand. Her Demon Brand is called Goodnight Kiss. This is why she cannot leave the Demon Brand home. Because once a week, she has to kiss Nermosa on the cheek. Goodnight kiss. With contact with Venus's lips, or the user's lips, the person falls into a trance and is unable to wake up for 1 week. 1 week. So, once a week, she goes down to this dungeon, does her special job, which is kissing Nermosa, keeping her asleep. Tara says, how long has Nermosa been down here? Then Venus says, I don't know. Actually, the previous user of Goodnight Kiss was also doing this for a time. I started pretty early in this, but for a time there was a point before I was even had a Demon Brand that Nermosa was in this basement. I do not know how long. Once a week she kisses him. Nermosa been here a while. They lock the door, they lock Nermosa back up, and they head up back up to Venus's room. The next of the chapter just goes over what the things Tara and Venus did. They played games, watched movies, did arts and crafts. Not really important because we kind of skipped over it, but it is something about that was Clara. Clara likes cat ears. Clara enjoys cat ears, and so in this chapter, to kind of like Tara kind of likes cat ears too because of Clara. Clara's personality affects Tara, and so after that, they do an arts and craft where they make her little cat ears out of like paper and stuff. I don't know. It's cute. It's a cute chapter. It's a cute moment. Anyway, Tara is enjoying it. She's cleaning up a little after all these arts and crafts. Finds her old clothes because they've given her new clothes. Finds 2 wish cards in it. She had the 2 wish cards for Kaido. Kaido had given her these 2 wish cards to hold on to. That would be the cat ears one that transforms you into a cat, and the one that changes your face. These are the 2 cards that they got from the witch in chapter 2. She has them. And then the 2 of them fall asleep in Venus's bed. That night, Jiro creeps into the room and steals these 2 cards. And then he takes these 2 cards and writes a letter. And then he calls for Toshi to deliver it. Toshi returns to his room where Akane and Ricky had been watching a movie. The 3 of them had been watching a movie. They were having a movie night. These 3 do a lot of goofy things together. They were doing a movie night when Toshi was called by Lord Jiro. The 3 of them can't hold containment. They're super excited. They want to know who is Jiro writing a letter to. Apparently this isn't normal for Jiro to just write a letter. I mean, when all your friends and all your team are living in one house together, I guess you don't have to write letters. They open it, and Toshi reveals this is a letter to Kaido, with the 2 wish cards in it. That's kind of crazy. Toshi slips into a void and finds Kaido asleep in the back of a carriage. This carriage is being drawn with Lucas in a red Alice. They've brought Kaido's body with them still. And so Toshi leaves the letter to Kaido with Kaido's sleeping body, and then he leaves. Okay. We're back to Kaido. Kaido has lived months inside his own mind. Only hours have gone by since he fell into this sleep, but to him, it's been months of absolute pain. And in this pain, he finally reached a point where he goes, Trappa, please make it stop. And Trappa makes a little deal. Trappa says, hey, let's make a deal. I will release you from my mindscape. But what you gotta do, in exchange for being allowed to leave, you've gotta let me plant a seed. And Kaido's like, what kind of seed? It sounds suspicious if you want to put something in my mind. And he goes, look, I want to put a seed that will only grow and bear fruit when a certain event happens. If this event ever were to happen and you witness it, this idea will be planted inside your head. And there's nothing you can do about it. It'll just be like it's your own idea. But what do you think of that? And Kaido goes, no, I'm not doing that. That sounds stupid. Why would I let you put ideas in my head? That sounds like a way to mind control me. So this is another thing that Divine Mindscape can do, although Trappa needs permission to plant ideas in your head. He can make you see things, but he can't actually make an idea seem like it's your idea unless you give him permission. So Trappa is annoyed, and here we get some crazy lore into how Nermosa ended up in the Demon Brand's basement. So, and also lore about that final battle for the Jewel War. We start to see a little more about one of the battles that ended the Jewel War, near the end of it. Okay, so he's annoyed, and he changes tactics, and he decides he's going to show a memory of how evil Akazusha are. Okay, so this memory takes place when Trappa had only just received his Divine Wish card along with his sister. The two of them, not twins, but they are very close in age, with Nermosa being younger. And so they're outside a tiny town with 4 knights leading a charge of 25 knights. Now this is the 4 Divine, Gente, Trappa, Nermosa, and here's the crazy thing, we name drop that 4th member. We're going to find out who their name is. Their name is Sasina. All 4 of the Divine are no. Sasina. She's in this memory. All we know is she's a girl, and she's a Divine. And she's riding a horse in this memory. The 4 of them have come to this small town, which is about here, I believe, here on the map. It's around there. It's not directly on the border, but it is towards the border of the 2 lands, on Heptaria's side. They've heard reports that Akazushian troops have, including a Demon Brand, might be in this town. And so they go over, and in this moment, in this memory, as they're approaching the town, this vacant ghost town, Trappa makes a note that he believes that he's overconfident that there are 4 Divine members, the most powerful users, with the most powerful wish cards in Heptaria. Arguments are there, but these are special wish cards they've got. It's crazy that all 4 of them are in one place just to fight maybe 1 Demon Brand. He doesn't get it. The knights enter the ghost town to search. In this moment, Karna appears. Karna, a young Karna. Shoot, I did not mention this earlier. In current day, when she meets Kaido, Karna has only 1 eye. She has an eye patch. In this memory, though, Karna has 2 eyes, and she's also wearing a dress. So this takes place before she confessed her love to Jiro. So in this moment, she's still a girl with 2 eyes, and she shoots her paper blades, slicing through a huge amount of the knights with ease. Trappa and Nermosa immediately are told by Genta, get out of here, retreat, stay back, and leave Karna to us. Leave it to me and Sasina. So Sasina, unlike these 2, actually has some kind of combat ability. We don't know what it is, but whatever it is, Genta feels comfortable that him and Sasina are enough to take down Karna. Or at least he thinks so. And so they're told to stay back. Trappa wants to prove himself. He feels stupid. He's one of the 4 great Divine. Why should he have to run back when his people are in trouble? But Trappa is big on following the rules. He is young, and he likes to do what adults tell him. And since the adults said to retreat, he tells Nermosa, we are retreating. And they run to send reinforcements. At this point, during this conversation, Karna has killed every single knight. Those 25 knights that they had come to the town with, along with the 4 Divine, are dead. It is now Karna versus Genta and Sasina. So a 2-on-1. Now, in current day, in the Mindscape, Trafa shifts our memory from this where that battle was going, because I want to know what happened, how did it end. And Trafa says, that's really stupid, because you know Kara's alive, and you've seen Genta, you haven't seen Sasina, but I promise she's alive. Obviously, it ended in a draw. It ended in a draw because of what happened. It wasn't like an end, but like they stopped fighting because of an event that's about to happen. I'm about to show you. Listen, Kaido. Just listen to me. So, Kaido says, okay, I'm going to quiet down, Kaido. So Trafa and Mimosa are running away. They're almost out of town when a water tower falls in front of them. And who it is? It is Murana. It is Murana. It's Kara's partner. Murana is here. And he's got his mask and he's got a scythe. And he charges at Mimosa. And with the end, not the pointy staff, but the stick part, sticks into Mimosa and knocks her out. Really blunt force, like a bat to the head. And Mimosa's unconscious. And Trafa, freaking out, he's like, oh gosh, activates his divine mindscape. He sucks Murana into the mindscape. And Trafa, for a moment, feels confident. He says, this is it. Murana notes that inside, when like we've seen with how Kaido in current day is unconscious, when he activates his ability, Trafa also goes unconscious because his mind is preoccupied inviting in whoever he invites in. So Murana is inside Trafa's mind right now. He's inside the mindscape. It takes place inside. Both bodies are unconscious. In real time, outside their bodies, a monster invented by Murana, which notably is half girl, half bear. Occasionally we'll bring up how much bears are. Bears are apparently somewhere inside Akazusha Miya, because Murana has a lot of bears, and other characters have bears. Like, not full bears, but like monster bears, robot bears. Akazusha Miya for some reason likes bears. We'll get to that later. It's not a big deal, just like a note. There are bears somewhere in this country, maybe towards Runois, because it's all forest land. It's never directly said why so many people are obsessed with bears. But bears come up a lot. Anyway, so a monster bear grabs Mimosa, but Trafa is inside the mindscape fighting Murana, so he can't rescue her. And in present time, Trafa notes to Kaido that he thinks it was part of the sick game to not have the bear girl steal his body as well, to leave him there, lying there, and that he thinks it's part of the game. And then Trafa goes as far as to say in current day he cannot watch the rest of this memory, and wants Kaido to watch it, but he will not be watching. He's going to exit out of the memory, he's going to disappear for a second, and let Kaido see what happens next. So Kaido watches. Trafa, in past tense in this memory, says, Murana, you are going to die alone. You're going to die alone, you're going to die inside me. And Murana laughs and says that, you're a little misinformed, little boy. And Trafa's like, don't try to scare me. Murana goes, I'm not alone. In fact, I'm 4,562 souls strong right now. And this is the current number of how many souls Murana has floating around inside him. Murana then starts releasing souls, flooding into Trafa's young, inexperienced mind. Again, Trafa only just got this wish card. He notes that his limit right now, the highest amount of people he's ever put inside his mind is 4 people. And he believes his limit would have been around 12, if he was being honest. 12 people, he boldly thinks he could make that many. There are 4,000 plus people inside Murana. So they start flooding him. And Trafa begins screaming in pain because there are 4,562 screaming souls inside his mind. And they are all screaming at once. And they are all having their own fears that Trafa's mind has to come up with things to test them, to scare them. So Trafa, overloaded, releases Murana. On the outside world, Trafa completely collapses from overload. He's like, his brain is overloaded from that many souls. Murana is unknown how many souls he has currently. How many souls did he leave behind inside there, or did he release any intruder? We don't really know. All we know is that his height, he had 4,562 souls when he started that fight. We don't know how many he has at the end. He might have less. There's just a ballpark to know this is how many souls he had during the war, during the Jewel War arc, which is kind of crazy to think. How many might he have now? We'll see. Anyway, outside world, Trafa's collapsed. Murana begins to drag him towards the fight, and he throws Trappa at Genta's feet as a way of intimidation. Trappa right now is bloodied and bruised from being dragged all the way over there. Genta doesn't like that. Moana's like, hey, how's the fight going? Karna says, hey, the fight is going well. I think I understand Genta's abilities more. It is then we realize Genta has been a real thorn in the side of the demon brand because they do not understand how his divine ability works. And so then Karna admits to him, actually, I don't want to ever fight him again. I hope that after this war, I will never have to fight this man again. If this was my last fight against him, I'd be happy. Which is crazy because we've seen right now, as so far in the story, Karna is believed to be kind of the most powerful, physically fighter we know. So to think she doesn't want to fight Genta, what could be Genta's ability? Well, Genta's ability is called Divine Luck. She rightly guesses it because you just have to put the word divine in front of something. Karna explains how her rules and what she thinks Divine Luck does. It is what his ability is called. Here are the 2 rules she comes up with. She says, his luck didn't start until I had killed those knights. So there was a requirement that the opponent is bad in his eyes. Rule number 2, she believes, her second theory, he must be careful. He was careful not to step on any flowers from a flower cart or break anything that wasn't already broken. I think he needs to be a good person to have good luck. Kind of like good things come to good people kind of thing. And at that point, the memory ends, Trappa ends the memory. And Trappa, it's noted that Trappa is embarrassed that he let Kaido hear that. Kaido does not need to know the secrets of Genta's ability. Part of Genta's strategy basically is not letting anyone live who knows how his ability works. So the fact that Karna's out there somewhere, and Moana, and whoever else has been told, they really don't want people to know about this ability. This ability is a big, big, big secret. So the fact that Kaido knows, really annoying. But hopefully, Kaido is in the pocket. He's got it. Okay, so at this point, Trappa's like, hey, did you learn your lesson? That Akazushimians are pure evil, and that the demon brand are disgusting creatures. That they're the cream of the crop, the most evil of the Akazushimians. And that wording was a bad choice because since he points out that these demon brand, these evil guys, are the cream of the crop, they're the worst of the worst. They're the worst. That doesn't mean the others are as bad as them. And this makes kind of realize that not everyone in this country could possibly be as bad as them. And so now Kaido sees that it isn't the race of the demon brand. Like, it isn't their race as Akazushimians that make them evil. It is just that he thinks they're evil people, part of this war. The people of this land are only evil in this country's eyes because of the demon brand. That is how Kaido feels. And Kaido feels also that means that Clara's race doesn't matter. Because she's her own person and she can be a good person like he thinks she is. His conflict of being worried that he's trying to save an evil person or that Clara might betray him, gone. She's a good person. He knows it. He knows who Clara is. And so Kaido awakens to Trappa's dismay. Trappa's body still with these guys at the night building. Kaido wakes up. He's in the back of a wagon carriage.